Welcome to the garden. Today I'm going to be planting out all of our lettuce that we started in the greenhouse. It's really one of the last chances to plant out the summer garden, so I'll probably do some peppers and some tomatoes. We've got 2 jalapenos here that look really nice, so either one of these could go in, I think, some of those smaller pots. And then we've got 2 really nice looking bell peppers too. You can tell these are bells because they have a little bit broader leaves, a little bit darker green, a little stockier plants, whereas the jalapenos are a little bit thinner, more lighter green pointed leaves. But I've got them all labeled just to make sure. This is a type of lettuce here, and it produces these beautiful little yellow flowers. I'm just going to pull all these lettuce, try and leave behind any soil that we can, and then we can always amend with more compost on top. That'll really help any peppers or tomatoes get a whole bunch of new nutrients. We're not going to go quite as deep as we would with a tomato, because peppers will only grow roots about on the first inch of that stem. We'll pop this little guy out. Try not to damage those roots. Really not going to disturb them at all. We can kind of settle this pepper in. Now we'll add some compost, about an inch, so we can bury a little bit of that stem, but mostly just to top dress, to absorb water and add a little bit of nutrients. It retains moisture really well, so you could mix it into the soil, but we're just going to top dress and then really water it in. You saw how dry that soil was? We're going to give this guy a really healthy drink. So the compost is going to absorb water super quickly. It's not going to be running all over the place like it would if this were just our clay soil. So we're just going to soak it. We can throw in some cilantro. So we're going to want to water again. Settle in those cilantro and just saturate that soil even further. And in this one, we're going to do cilantro seed. That way we'll have a bit of a staggered harvest. So I've also planted some brand new tomato seedlings. So these we grew in little seed cells like this. And I've got aroma tomato here and there. We replaced some broccoli that really weren't looking so hot. So hopefully these will really grow quickly. And then we've got another tomato over here that replaced a couple lettuce. I've also just popped in some basil just to fill in for now. But we're really planting out the last of the summer vegetables. So now's the time to get out in the garden and give it a grow. I'm planting out the bell peppers in a little bit larger container than the jalapenos, just because the fruit are a little bit larger, a little bit more demanding. I'm going to leave a bunch of lettuce around the outside rim, but everything in the center can get harvested. This will actually stay fresh in the fridge in a sealed container like a bag or a Tupperware for a couple weeks, up to like a month if you've got a really nice sealed container. They actually crisp up too, which is really nice. So all these are going to end up in the fridge for the next couple weeks. It's really not going to compete too much with the lettuce, and we'll add extra compost just to make sure everything has enough nutrients. But these lettuce look really healthy, the pepper looks really good, so they should get along just fine. These new lettuce are just going to replace some of the old stuff that's bolting. It's a little bit bitter at this point. It's so tall that it's going to produce flowers and seed pretty soon. So I'm going to pull anything that's not the red lettuce. This red stuff I actually want to let go to seed so that we can replenish our stock. I'm thinning these down to just 1 or 2 plants per plug. So it's pretty drastic, but we have so many seeds that it's really not a loss. You could even split these apart and try and transplant them to other parts of the garden. If you can save a little bit of that root, they should recover just fine. They'll just take a couple more days to get established, but then you can actually get a staggered harvest. So we've picked about the largest one, and then we're just going to pop these in the sun, just like that. We can give them a little extra compost just to replenish some of those nutrients. And then we'll water these in and just watch them grow. I'm going to be staking my peppers with just one stake rather than a cage. So I want to do it on the down slope side of the wind so that the pepper leans into the stake. These little flowers are going to take up most of the energy in the plant. We actually want it to focus on green growth and growing up a little bit taller before it produces fruit. That way when we do let it go to flower, it'll be able to support really large, beautiful peppers. So I do pinch these off, and they make excellent little snacks. They're just like tiny baby peppers. They're really tasty. So after a few weeks out in the full sun, the peppers have forked into 3. You can see 3 beautiful growing points. And then these are all producing tons of little flowers. So you want to stay on top of it and pinch those off until they get a little bit taller. We're still actually pretty short here. I want it to get maybe up to here first before we let it set fruit. But our cilantro's coming up. I just want to stay on top of these weeds. We actually get tons of tomato volunteers. These come from the compost. And then all sorts of random stuff. I kind of want to let these ones go and see what they are, because they're not really competing too much with the cilantro, but a tomato will eventually compete with the pepper, so I definitely don't want those. But they're looking really nice. I've since planted a couple more. We've got one here to pinch off these little flowers. This one's actually been eaten by something, but the other one looks a little bit better. Our bell peppers are looking okay. What leaves were there are really big now. We're not getting tons of new growth yet though, but there's still plenty of time. I planted out another bell pepper here, and this one we should probably get in here and pinch some of these flowers. Look at all those. These are all just little baby fruit, but this plant is not tall enough. We can give it more sun by trimming these lettuce back. These are all bolting right now, so I want to prune them so they don't block out the sun. They're going to be bitter anyways, so we could probably just pull these and replace them. But the peppers are looking excellent. I've got a few more in pots right over here that we could probably plant out. But this one looks really good, so we'll keep this one here and we'll transplant these little guys. So I hope you all are out in the garden planting your summer vegetables. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.